Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast, episode 30 of Jewel TV. I'm so excited that you're here with us, and we have a great topic today all about structuring your packages. I'm Julia Kelleher, and I'm broadcasting to you live here in Bend, Oregon. I think this is the last time we're going to be here at this temporary space, the studios. I'm sure you guys know I've been posting all kinds of for sale messages as we're trying to sell out all of our stuff that's been around for a while. We want to get rid of to furnish the new studio. So very excited about that. Again, thanks for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today in terms of packages. You may notice on occasion my little peanut behind me. Dean is with us today. He wasn't feeling very good today, so he stayed home from school, or at least I picked him up early today. So, you know, the plight of a working mom, he's just going to hang out with us today. And he promised me that he would be quiet and just be a good boy back there. And so far, he's been doing really good. I think he's playing on his iPad. So anyway, let's get started, guys. So we'll go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get right into what this episode is about and get rolling on making packages that work for you guys. So yes, today's webinar is all about structuring packages and finding what fits for you in your business. Everybody's different. Everybody works better or sells different. I should say everybody sells in different ways, and everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and some pricing methods are going to work for you and others won't. So when you have a package structure that you really feel comfortable selling and that you feel comfortable working with, that's going to come through to your clients, and your clients are going to be really happy. You're going to get the average sale you need, and you'll be selling the products you want to sell. So, of course, this is Talk Latte, episode 30, a Jewel TV production, brought to you by www.jewel-tv.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, the recorded version of it, you'll be able to see this version in its entirety at jewel-tv.com. Along with, you'll be able to download the freebie there too. So what you need to do is head to jewel-tv.com and then put in your name, last name, and email address, and that will give you full access to the archives, every single episode we've done, as well as all the freebies that may or may not come with each episode. So today, 5 ways to structure packages. We're going to find what fits for you. So now, this is not an exhaustive list. There are lots of different ways to do packages. And over the years, I have tried so many different methodologies and finally landed on one that's worked. And I've stuck with this model for about 6 years now. And I've tweaked it along the way, but I'll tell you what my model is here at the end of the broadcast. But I wanted to give you an overview of the methodologies that I've tried, the methodologies that a lot of my colleagues and peers in the industry have tried, and just give you the pros and cons and helping you figure out what fits for you and what might structure best for your profitability. What's super important, my little window here, I'm going to go ahead and hide my window so you guys don't have to see me here. And it's just 1 second. My system has a lot of trouble. There we go. Stop the video. Now we'll go back so you guys can read my keynotes here. So what's really important to understand when you are doing or structuring your packages is that first and foremost, the prices of your individual products have to meet your cost of goods. What is a cost of good? A cost of good includes how much it costs you to actually purchase or create the product. And that includes your hourly time. So say, for example, you purchase a 16 by 20 canvas from your lab, it's about $100, right? Well, then there's the stretching of the canvas in the digital file, there's the retouching of the image, et cetera, et cetera. All that adds time to the actual cost of the product. So it's important to set your individual product prices first before you begin putting packages together. What's also important with packages is they need to encourage a client to move up, to buy more. Most package structures have like a beginning, a middle, and a whopper. So you have a low-end package, a middle-of-the-road package, and then a higher end. Now that's just 3 packages. You can add a few more in there to make 4 or 5 packages if you want. But ultimately, what I'm trying to make a point here about is that packages need to start low and have very little value and move up, 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 adding more and more of what the client wants as they spend more money. So what that's going to do is it's going to encourage the client with built-in incentive to actually purchase more or spend more money to get the product that they want. So let's take an example here. Digital files. Everybody wants digital files, right? So if you are going to offer those in your studio, you probably don't want to put them in your lowest package. You want to put them, or at least start adding them, in the middle of the road once a client gets to the average sale that you truly want. Then you can start adding things that the customer truly wants. Does that make sense? What's also important is to always look at your pricing from a client perspective. Whenever I'm working with a student when they're making their packages, I'll tell them, okay, structure your packages, loosely outline everything that you want, give it a price, and then throw it in a drawer for 3 weeks. Don't look at it, don't touch it, try to forget about it. Hide it away from yourself. Then about 3 weeks down the road, and 3 weeks is like that perfect time period to forget about it enough that when you bring it back, you can look at it from a different perspective. And that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to pull out that piece of paper and then look at your pricing as if you were a client in their mindset and ask yourself, where's the best deal? Where do I get the best bang for my buck in these packages? And with that being said, once you realize where that is in your pricing, it'll either be perfect and exactly at the average that you want, or you'll be like, oh man, people can spend very little money and get out the door with everything they want. And that's not the money that I need to be making. So these are important evaluations and critiques of your pricing that you need to make yourself, so you have a pricing structure that not only provides incentive to the client to spend more, but it also helps you meet your average sales goals and makes the client happy as well. So what's also important is to make sure that lowest package should have low value. Okay, so you don't want to give away the entire farm in that bottom package. All right, so what is perceived value? I think that perceived value is a topic that's incredibly important when it comes to pricing your products and building packages. Perceived value is what the client thinks something is worth. Not what the actual cost is, not what the retail price of it. It's what the client values in their mind. And some products clients do value quite highly, like digital files. They want them, so they're willing to pay for them. Now, a lot of you will argue with me on that topic, and you'll say things like, well, Julia, down the street, the Shoot and Burner sells the entire disc for $150, so those are the cheap clients calling me. Yes, I understand that, and I agree with you somewhat. But when you can turn that around on its head and talk to the client and say, you know what, with these digital files, once they leave my studio, there is an enormous lost opportunity cost that I have as a business owner when I sell the files. You're allowed to unlimited print, share, produce these images for personal use for the lifetime that the files exist. That has enormous value, and that means that I can never sell or profit off these images again. So that has tremendous perceived value. And when you communicate that to your client, obviously in a kind, nice way, all of a sudden they realize, wow, $50 for a digital file and I can print it as much as I want? That's nothing. That's actually quite inexpensive. But when you put 20 files together at $50 a pop, now all of a sudden you're starting to get to an average sale that might actually produce something, right? That might actually be profitable for your studio. So think about perceived value and how that impacts your packages. Products that have a very high perceived value that the client wants, you're going to probably price a little bit more, even though they don't cost you very much. It costs you shooting the session, editing the images, so 3 to 4 hours worth of work to actually do digital images, and then maybe the cost of the USB drive or download service that you're going to use. That is a very low cost to you. But does that mean that you should sell it at a 20% cost of goods? Heck no. Those files have a huge perceived value, so you need to charge for them appropriately so that the client realizes the value that they're getting. The other question I want to pose to you guys before we actually start talking about packages is how to meet your cost of goods. How to satisfy that number in your studio? Well, the PPA benchmark has a 30% cost of goods as kind of the standard, and honestly, I think that's way too high. My cost of goods, I try to keep it between 20 and 25% in my studio. And the way you do that is to either lower your hard costs of your product, so find vendors who have things less expensive, raise your prices so that your cost of goods drops, or reduce the time you spend on the product so that in turn will lower your cost of good. Does that make sense? So there's only a few ways to actually get your cost of goods number at the percentage that it needs to be at. So keep these in mind when you price your own products, what you have to do to actually meet a solid cost of good that will make you profitable. And that in the industry is around 20 to 25%. So in other words, the actual cost of the product, including your time, should be around 20 to 25% of the retail cost you charge to the customer, okay? That does not mean if something costs you $100 that you just multiply that times 4 and charge $400 for it. No, 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 no. You have to take into account the perceived value, okay? If the client thinks that something has more value in their head than the actual hard cost of the product, you need to charge more for it. And then there'll be times when things that are in-demand products that you want to sell, for example, canvas. Canvas is expensive for us to produce as photographers. And so our cost of good on canvas is usually a little higher. Mine actually creeps into that 30% range that starts to make me feel uncomfortable. So what do? I pair canvas with digital files to, quote, pad my cost of goods. Because digital files are relatively cheap to produce, when I pad that, the retail price of the digital file with the canvas price, now all of a sudden we're talking and I'm making some profit. Okay, so let's talk about packages in the 5 ways. The first way is basically selling things a la carte with like a day of discount. So for example, you have an a la carte price list, the clients choose what they want, and then if they order at the ordering appointment, you give them a percentage off when they order that day. Now, this is great if the concept of building a low, middle, and high-end package is just overwhelming for you. You don't want to deal with it. You're like, I just want them to order, and then I'll give them a discount if they do it that day. That's great. There are some serious cons, though, to this methodology. First of all, it means you have to be a really good salesperson. If you want to sell a high dollar amount or meet your average sale, you have to be good at selling people a lot of different things on the a la carte price list. It's not packaged as a unit. So some people could just walk in and buy a single canvas, and out the door, you're paying 30, 35% cost of goods, and wham, you didn't make that much money on it because you gave a 20% discount as well because they ordered that day, and you're kind of screwed out of a profit. So you have to be able to sell and have some talent selling. Now, this isn't the end of the world, and there's a lot of very, very successful photographers who have this methodology. As a matter of fact, some of them have this methodology strictly selling a la carte and don't even offer the day of discount. The other con that you have to consider with this methodology is that offering a discount with an order the day of is a little brand affecting. Offering discounts on products tends to affect a high-end brand negatively. So you want to consider that. The other way to do it might be to add on a gift. So if they order from the a la carte price list, they get a free gift that day if they place the order that day, that kind of thing. So consider adding on a special gift rather than actually doing a discount when they order that day. So a la carte can work, and it's one of those things where, is it a true package structure? It can be and it can't be, not exactly. But I've had a lot of people be successful with this methodology, and I encourage you to think about it just to decide kind of what brand you want to have in your studio. And like I said, Allison Jones, Allison Rogers, Kimberly Wiley, very high-end boutique models use the a la carte methodology, and they have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 averages all the time. So it works, and that's why I included it with these 5 methods. Okay, number 2 is set packages. Products are set within each packages, and then the packages increase in price and value as you go up. So let's look at an example. This is the classic way that photographers have been doing packages for years. And clearly there's variations on this. It just depends on what you put in the package. And I think this is where most photographers get hung up and run into a roadblock, because they just don't know what to put in the packages that structures them such that there's a low, a middle, and a high, and actually encourages the client to purchase more. So let's have a look. Package 1, this is just a hypothetical example. A 16 by 20, 2 11 by 14s, 1 digital file, and 3 gift prints. Okay, that's package 1. And say, I haven't calculated these at cost of goods, so you definitely need to see where your costs are on this to determine, whether or not they'll actually meet your averages and your cost of goods. But say, for example, you price that at, $800, okay? Then the next package up, 20 by 24 canvas, 11 by 14s, 10 digital files, and 5 gift prints. Okay, now we're talking. The client wants those digital files and a lot of them. So this is a package where the clients might go, ooh, this is going to suit our needs a little bit more. and say this one is priced at $1,100. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing an arbitrary number out at this point. Then package 3 is kind of your whopper. It's got the album, it's got the 16 by 20 wall print, but then it has all the digital files in it. And if you're a talented photographer and producing really quality sessions where every image the client has trouble turning down, now all of a sudden you've got a situation where the client's like, wow, do we weed it down to 10 files, or we do all of our files and go with package number 3, the whopper, which maybe is at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. Again, a hypothetical price. I have not calculated the cost of goods on this kind of thing. But you can see how each package increases in value as the client spends more. Now, this is great because it gives you a set framework in which to describe your pricing to your clients. You can talk to them about, okay, packages start at, did I say 800 on this first one, or 700, and go up to 1,800. Most clients spend in the middle. Our $1,100 package includes this, this, and this. And that's great. It gives clients a framework. It lets them know what most people spend. It tells them if they can or cannot afford you. And it gives you a structure to work within to provide specific products to clients. However, the cons to this is that there's going to be clients who don't necessarily want a 20 by 24 canvas. They're like, well, can we substitute? I'd rather have 2 8 by 10 canvases. Can I do that? Or, 10 digital files. Can we just forego the gift prints and get all digitals, 5 more digital prints? So you're going to get people wanting to finagle and change things. And this was the problem I had when I had this kind of package back in the day when I first started, is everybody wanted to substitute. There was very little flexibility to the client. The other con to this pricing model is that there's a ceiling. That top package is typically the maximum dollar amount that a client will spend with you, which kind of stinks, right? I mean, you want them to spend more. Now, could you always try to add on stuff? Yeah, but typically they don't. Then on top of that, if your package has more than they want in it, for example, they don't need 8 gift prints, they just want 3 for the grandparents. I don't know. The point is they get more than they actually need. So yeah, while they may buy package 3, they're not going to add on any more because it's not the products that they specifically want. Does that make sense? So this set package structure is highly valuable, but keep in mind there are some limitations to it, but it will help you at least get your client to move up and create incentive for them to do that. Now, one of the other issues with this is figuring out what the heck to put in your packages. And this is where you really need to focus on what you want to sell as a photographer. Are you into albums? Are you into wall art? Are you into both? And then consider, do I want to keep things flexible for my client or not? Okay, let's look at method number 3, the big ticket item with digital files or gift prints. So in other words, an album or wall art is in a package with a set number of digital files or gift prints instead of, packages that include a lot of different things. So, for example, kind of building on what number 2, package 1 would be, for example, the big ticket item and then 3 gift prints. Package 2 would be the big ticket item, the same one, and 10 digital files or 5 gift prints, depending on if you want to sell digitals or not, okay? You could do both. If you do both, then you're kind of getting back into methodology number 2, but you're just keeping it extremely simple. And you guys know me, my mindset is less is more, unless it's coffee, right? Really. One second. Beat, would you mind going to my car? In my trunk is our book, in our thing. My keys are in my purse. I forgot to bring my own pricing guide in here, and so I'm going to let her grab it, and I'll show it to you when we're done here at the end. Okay, so then package number 3 is, say, that big ticket item and all your digital files, okay? So again, more flexibility because a client only gets the wall piece and the files, or the gift prints for that matter. But still, what if they don't want a 16 by 20? What if they want something different? Now, you could do this with albums if you love to sell albums. You could, kind of make your albums go lower, middle, and high, 10-page, 20-page, 30-page. And obviously, I'm kind of keeping this in a loose structure because there's lots of different ways to do albums and to, what am I calling it? Increase them in value or move them up or make them nicer as the client spends more. Now, one of the issues with this is, and I actually used to have very much this type of pricing. One of the issues is the client will say, well, I want the 30-page album, but I only want 10 digital files. And that's a nice album. And that's a $1,500 album in my studio. But she only wants 10 files. Am I going to restrict her on that? to package 3 just because that's the package that has the 30-page album in it? Or again, for example, she wants a 20-page album, but she wants all her digital files. Can she upgrade? Can she spend more? Well, shoot, I want her to spend more. Why can't I sell her a 20-page album with all the files? That's still an incredible sale. I mean, that album in my studio is $800 plus all the files is $795 in my studio, or $725. I'm like, that's a great sale. Why wouldn't I allow her to do that and profit off of it? So the problem with this method number 3 here with the big ticket items and the digital, model is that it just doesn't allow for that flexibility for the client. And you'll, again, have clients wanting to do changes and substitutions. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Heck no, you can totally do it. And I've done it. Trust me, I had this pricing model for a couple of years when I first started out. What you could do to kind of help assuage this problem is do number 4, the big ticket item with $1 credit. So what that means is you'd have the big ticket album or wall art, but then combine it with a specific dollar amount to purchase digital files or gift prints, depending on what you want to do in your studio. So these examples are like this. So package 1 would be the 10-page album with a $250 credit. And they can spend that credit on your a la carte digital files or on gift prints or on a wall portrait, right? This method, I think, is one of the most successful package methods out there, okay? It works very, very well. So I think you can see how now we're starting to offer a lot more flexibility. So for example, look at package number 2. You get a 20-page album with a $500 credit. And you can limit what they spend that credit on. It could just be digital files. It could be just gift prints. It could be digital files and wall art. It could be a combination of things, okay? So this type of pricing model, or package model, I should say, at least has some flexibility associated with it. But it's still not the ultimate in flexibility when it comes to your client. And that's why I want to introduce you to method number 5. This, in my opinion, works. And it's, I'm biased. It's what I use. And I've been using it for 5 years now in my studio. And I went through all these other methods before I found Create Your Own Collection. And I have modified Create Your Own Collection lots of different times over the years. And we've finally, I think in the last 3 years, 4 years, come into our own and found a methodology that really works for us and what we do. But how it works is basically the client fulfills a specific number of steps to make a custom package. For example, step 1 would be to choose printed art of some kind. So a wall portrait or an album or both, or 1 or 50, it doesn't matter. Step 2 would be to choose their digital files, and step 3 would be to choose gift prints. You could add in step 4, 5, and 6 if you want. You could add step 4 being, choose boutique items like holiday cards or jewelry or, any other thing that you offer in your studio. I always encourage people, again, less is more unless it's coffee. Do less. Make it simple, stupid for your clients. The more complex, the more steps you do, the more complicated it is, and the more clients look at you with that blank look on their face like, I don't know what's going on here. Can you explain this to us? And when you have a confused client, now all of a sudden you've taken them away from the emotion of actually purchasing, and it becomes harder and harder to sell to them. So less is more, less is more, less is more. Excuse me, I have to cough just 1 second. Sorry about that. We'll edit that out in the recording. Okay, so this is page 1, essentially, of my product and pricing guide. So it explains how Create a Collection works, and you can see here on the right, there's 2 steps. The client chooses some kind of signature art, whether it be wall art or an album, and this begins at $250. Now, every single piece of wall art that leaves my studio is wall ready, framed, gallery wrap canvas. It is, you can put it up on the wall right when you get home. Okay, our albums begin at $425. Then the step 2 is to choose their digital files. They get all the files. It's just a matter if they want low resolution files or high resolution files. High resolution files come with some pretty cool perks. They come with a proof box. They come with either a set of cards like birth announcements or a set of mini books. And they come with an iPhone app. So there's a lot of perks and incentives built in to clients choosing those high resolution files. So the low res files, clearly, since it begins at $495, the low res files are $495 and the high resolution files are $725. So you can see right there, my minimum create a collection, if you add those two up, $250 and $495, what is that, $745? That puts me at $745 for a minimum create your own collection. Combine that with a $250 session fee, and really out the door minimum is $1,000 for clients to come in. But they pretty much get the whole enchilada for that. They get a wall art of some kind, and they get all their files in low res in a download delivery. So they like that. They're happy about that. Like, oh yeah, okay, we can actually do that, and we get everything out of it. We don't have to pick. So again, this is just the basics of how it works, seeing it in black and white here. And here's it in our brochure. What I want you to notice is that we also have an a la carte option, okay? So clients don't have to do create a collection in that big gray box there. They can do a la carte only. But I want you to carefully look at this. And the reason why is because you will see the incentive built into this pricing structure the minute you check out the a la carte options. There's two options only. If you don't want to do create a collection, you can choose your 12 favorite digital files for $495 in low res, or you can pick 20 digital files from your session in full res for $945. But if you look at in create a collection, the price of all your large digital files is $725. Granted, to make a collection, you have to add on the price of the wall portrait, which begins at $250. So that puts us right there at $975. But not only do you get a wall portrait and all your files, but you get the crystal USB drive, the image box, the cards or the mini books. You get all these add-on incentive things if you just spend that $30 more versus 20 digital files a la carte. So when I do a full session, I'm showing a client 30 to 40, sometimes 50 images in their session. So they can either choose 20 files for $945, or they can get all 40 files plus a wall piece and that proof box and a set of mini books for the price of $975, okay? So that should tell you right there where the incentive is. 95% of our clients go for create a collection, and it offers them that ultimate flexibility. They can choose one wall portrait, or they can choose 50. They can choose an album and a wall portrait. We have 4 different finishes in wall art. So there's tons of variation, there's tons of options. Everything's fun and very exciting to look at, a visual stimulus to the eye, and they get all those freebies on top of it. So we've built this pricing model to be extremely flexible to the client, to give them what they want, which is those digital files, but at the same time, we're also making sure that they get the printed wall art on top of that, so that again, that package is created, it's completely customizable to them, but gets us to a less than 20% cost of good. The reason for that is because my products themselves are priced at around 20 to 25% cost of goods, but then those digital files pad the sale, bringing the overall cost of create a collection down below 20%. So when you're structuring your packages, you have to meet your cost of goods. You have to build that incentive for the client to want to move up. It has to be flexible for the client to get what they truly want and need. It has to be profitable to you. You've got to meet your average sale, and it has to have that strategy involved. The strategic thinking that gives the client a psychological reason to want to spend more, okay? So we've had lots of demands. Our pricing and product suite just came out, and for those of you, we decided to extend the sale on it. If you're interested in doing it, use code PRICE17 through this Friday for 20% off our 2017 product and pricing suite. If you go to jewel-education.com and visit the online classes tab, you will see it listed there. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly where that is. 1 second, I'm going to have to redo my share my screen here. It's a little challenging to find because it's on our site, but don't go to the shop here. Go to online courses, Jewel Education Classes. We are moving our shop to this site, and right now it still says Jewel Education Classes. But keep in mind, the products are down here. So go down and you will see the 2017 pricing and product suite right here, and you can purchase it for 20% off using the code PRICE17. So again, go to jewel-education.com and then go to the online classes tab, and that will show you exactly where it is. All right, so let's continue here and wrap up and take your questions. Of course, I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. This topic always has tons of questions, but before we do that, make sure to grab the freebie. We have a freebie today that helps you determine your packages and figure out which methodology works for you. Everybody's different. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. You need to figure out what will work for you in your studio, and this worksheet will help you do that and think about that. So go to jewel-tv.com, opt in, look at this episode this afternoon. The freebie will be available, and you'll be able to download it and do the worksheet in combination with this content, and it'll help guide you through it and figure out what works best for you. So as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to facebook.com/groups/Julia Kelleher to see us broadcast these live on Tuesdays. And you can ask your questions there. And of course, to find me, you can find me at all these different social media sites. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show my mug here. And that way we can take some questions, because I know you will have, oh my gosh, look at all the questions. And I wanted to show you our pricing guide. The set that comes in the kit is our 2017 pricing guide. And you can see I showed you the first page of it right here. This is how we explain create a collection, and then all the products we have in the guide are listed. We have a bunch of different wall series, a bunch of different albums in the guide. We use Miller's albums, but you can put really any kind of product you want in here to structure your create a collection. And then of course the digital files and our solitaire pieces, single wall pieces are in here as well. And then the combination or the complement to that is the pricing sheet. So this basically has the prices, upside down, the prices of all of our products individually. So, and this comes in the product and pricing suite, including individual prices of different sizes, all of our different collections, and all of our different wall collections, albums, excuse me, here on the left, and then all of our wall collections on the right. So you can adjust it all. It's PSD files layered. Matter of fact, I strongly suggest you calculate your cost of goods and then adjust this kind of stuff for your own market, what your market can bear, and for your profitability standards. And then it also comes with the pricing brochure that you can, of course, customize to your own studio and your session fees and all that. So if you want to grab that, go to jewel-education.com, go to the Jewel Education Online Classes tab. You'll see it there at the bottom, and use the code PRICE17 to get 20% off. We've extended it through Friday. A lot of people were requesting and missing out on a sale over the Mother's Day weekend because they were traveling or whatever, so I wanted to make sure that we extended that to folks who were sad. Okay, so questions, let's take them. Juanita asked, Julia, what do you consider as a low package in price terms? Oh, this is a tough question. I wish I could just give you a flat out answer, Juanita, and that's hard to do because it's very market dependent. It's very much quality and brand dependent. It depends on what kind of business model you're operating. But if you're high volume and you're bringing a lot of people through the door quickly and not doing a lot of editing on the images and shoving people out the door fast, then yeah, you can have a lower price in terms of packages, in terms of average sale for a client getting out the door. But if you're a one-man shop, you're a boutique model, you're only taking anywhere from 5 to 10 clients a month, then you're gonna need to average $1,000 a client in order to make a profit and pay your overhead and all that good stuff. So honestly, if you're in that price point, like you saw, my lowest package is literally $745. Now, can someone get out the door for $495 with digital files only? Yes, they can. Does that happen to me? On occasion. Does it frustrate the heck out of me? Yes, but it's a bell curve, and I want that entry point. I want that $500 entry point to look low, and then when the client comes in, sees us, meets us, actually talks to us, connects with us on an emotional level, they see that, yeah, it's not going to be that cheap, that they're going to have to spend a little bit more money, or better yet, they're going to want to spend more money. And with that being said, they hire us based on those parameters. So we impress them with the pre-consultation, with the connection phone call, the booking phone call, the work, the products that we produce for them. And so that encourages them, and they realize that the price is worth it, okay? So will I work for $495 for digital files, not including session fee, those 12 a la carte files? Yeah, I will. Do I like doing it? No, but it's a rare client. I get maybe 3 of those a year at the most. And then I also get, the nice thing about the Create Your Own collection is there's no ceiling. So I've had a $10,000 sale off of it before. Does that happen every day? Heck no, I wish. I wish it did, but no, it doesn't. So once a year, I'm gonna get those really nice, big $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 sales. And then once or twice a year, I'm gonna get those $4.95 a la carte sales. The point is that it averages out. So my average sale with this pricing model, and now that we're releasing everything already, is around $1,400 a client, not including session fee. And that upped our average. We used to be around $1,100 or $1,200, and now that we're doing everything well ready, this year we've popped things up a notch. Combine that with a new studio, higher overhead, double rent. We had to do that in order to be profitable, but it's working out and it's going to be a good thing. Morgan Snyder says, do you ever explain to clients that you are losing value by giving them digitals because they can share, print, etc. for a lifetime so they understand that? I'm always nervous saying something like that to them. Oh, heck yeah. I say that all the time. As a matter of fact, so many people want, I get requests all the time for, oh, can you give us an online gallery? We don't want to come back. Unfortunately, no, I'm sorry. It's just too easy in today's digital age for folks to right click or screenshot and take our images without permission. And so in order to avoid that problem and protect our livelihood, we've decided to make it so that everyone must come in and view the images in an in-person ordering appointment. And then once digital images are paid for, then we can release them outside the studio, things like that. Education on digital files. Well, the price of digital files includes the lost opportunity cost that comes with that as a business owner. Once we release and sell that file to you, we can no longer profit off it from you at any time in the future because you have unlimited personal printing rights to do with what you want in that file for the lifetime of the file. So digital files are priced where they are because of that lost opportunity cost associated with them. Say something like that and the client goes, oh yeah, okay, I get it. You got to make money. We're a business. We have to make money. We have a talent. We have a skill set. That is a marketable skill set. Christina says, do you ever have a client combat the lost opportunities cost talk? A couple times I have had, and they're, testy people who are mean to begin with, or attorney types who just want to negotiate the heck out of everything. I literally say, I'm sorry, this is where we're priced. I'm sad if it makes you unhappy, but this is where it's at, and we may not be the right fit for you studio-wise if you want something in a shoot and burn type quality. If that's the case, I can certainly refer you to folks who advertise on Craigslist and are not considered high-end professionals. They will give you the digital files at the price that you want. Voila. Then they're out the door. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. That's how I treat it. Okay. Julia, Juanita says, Julia, can you also say, is your sitting fee charge separate? Yes, it is. I have a GEMS session for $95, which is a single subject, and then full family or outdoors is $250. Or excuse me, GEMS went up to $125, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, my friend's here. Hi, Sarah. I think she wants to buy some stuff from us on our sale going on right now. Yeah, so gem session is $125. It just went up this year. I don't even know my own prices. Like, how sad is that? And then studio session fee for whole family or outdoors is $250. Christina says, I'm just getting started and working on building my packages, but since I'm starting out, I know I want to do the portfolio building discount for 6 months. Good idea, Christina. I don't know how to go about marketing that, though. Do I put on my website with an ending date? Yeah, that's a great idea. Do I just do half off the session fee or do half off everything, session fee and products? I don't want to hurt myself in the long run by executing this poorly. I'm so glad you're asking this, Christina, and it's a great question to ask, especially in the beginning before you get yourself in too deep. What I would suggest is either one. As long as you say to your clients when they book, this is a product line developing discount. So I wouldn't even necessarily call it portfolio building because I don't know if I want everybody to know that I'm a beginner all the time, right? Or if you don't mind saying that and you're comfortable with that, then go for it. What I did is I gave 50% off everything for the first 6 months, just so I could build images and build portfolio work. That way I'm not giving things away, but yet I'm still building my portfolio in a way that makes me happy. Christina, it sounds like you're on the right track. And just make sure you have that end date and that clients who book you know that end date so that when they come to book you again in the future, when they really like you and love your work, they know that that discount was a one-time thing and it's not going to happen again. Okay, Caitlin says, how would you figure out how much credit to offer to make sure you are making a profit for model number 4? I think it just depends. I think you need to figure out what your average sale needs to be. If your average sale needs to be $800, $1,000, $1,500, depending on the income level that you want to make and what costs you have and overhead, then your packages should structure such that the middle ground is that average. There's 2 ways to think about this. You can either do the middle ground as that average, or the lowest package is that number. Say you want your average sale to be $1,500. You can make your lowest package $1,500. So in other words, you'll take a big ticket item and maybe it's $500 and then they get $1,000 credit towards any other product. Okay. So think about, it all depends on what you want to make, what your costs are in your business, and what you need your average sale to be, and then how you're going to price your individual products. Remember, the very beginning of this whole lesson, I said, price your individual products first according to your cost of goods, then start building packages out of those products. Make sense? Okay, Morgan says, do print credits really work? Yeah, they do. She says, I've heard so many things that print credits don't work, clients don't use it, or they don't see the value in it. How do you overcome that hurdle? The biggest thing I would say there, Morgan, is do in-person sales. When a client has that print credit to spend right then and there at the session and they see your pricing beforehand, you've done a pre-consultation with them, they know that this is going to be the case when they get into the ordering appointment, then they will fully spend that print credit when they're there with you at that in-person ordering appointment. If you do these kinds of packages online, it's going to be a lot more of a struggle to do that. Okay, Sherry says, I just started doing credits and are really awesome and it leaves a lot open for upgrades. Julia, you rock. Thanks. You are seriously my business god. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's really sweet. Morgan says, why do you think clients get confused with CYOC, credit collection, even though it's fairly simple to understand? You know, Morgan, I don't have the problem so much anymore now that we reduced credit collection to 2 steps. I used to have it be 4 steps. Okay, so like I said, I've simplified this a lot over the years and made tons of mistakes. And now that we have it as 2 steps, art digitals, it's simple, clean, and people get it. As I do have to explain to them, you know, I'll say to them things like, create a collection or build your own package consists of the 2 steps within the black box here. Complete both steps and you have a custom package. This goes home with them along with multiple other little kits we have that explain it all out, show all the pricing. And I tell them when they leave the session, think about what you want to do the images. Please come prepared to your ordering appointment. Sit down with your husband, talk about a budget, figure out what you want to do, and make sure you're ready when you come in because we got beautiful images and I don't want you to be overwhelmed at your appointment. And while your session fee includes this appointment, this IPS appointment that you're going to have with us, if you are having trouble deciding or if you can't, you know, fulfill the order at that time, we will schedule another ordering appointment, but there's a fee to do so. Then that makes them go, okay, I better be ready to make a purchase when I come back in. Okay? Andrea says, oh my gosh, we have so many questions on this one. I'm going to take these and then we'll have to go, we'll have to stop it at that point so we don't go over time here. Andrea says, I knew this would be a hot topic. I'm so glad. I have difficulty with pricing the wall art in a way that will be more appealing. We are struggling to structure IPS. The way we have thought about it is, or course, session fees plus product collections consisting of either albums and or wall art. Anything we would print, either in an album or in a frame, we'd also give as a digital negative. What I have difficulty with is that our albums seem way more appealing than our wall art because clients will likely feel they are getting more images for their buck by getting an album versus frame. That's exactly the problem with that type of digital file mentality. And while it's not an issue, you are going to encourage clients to purchase albums more just simply by doing that, by saying, okay, every image that you purchase, you get a digital file of. And it's a great methodology. It totally works, Andreas. I don't think you've got a problem there. But by the nature of the beast, people want more digitals. So they are going to purchase an album to get more digitals, and you're not going to sell as much wall art. Now, to encourage clients to do wall art, have it displayed. Do beautiful custom finishes that they can't produce themselves, not just a simple frame or a simple gallery wrap canvas. Do float canvas. And we have a new product out right now that we call a museum mount, which is shadow box frames with float mounted prints inside that are really high end, very museum quality, kind of a modern finish, and clients are going nuts over it. So they can't do that themselves. It's not, they can't just go out to Michael's and buy a frame for their image and do it that way. It's unique. So the only way to really kind of fix that issue would be to make wall art more attractive with better products. Or number 2, maybe throw in a gift print collection that they get 20 different gift prints at the price of wall art. You know what I mean? And that will get them their files that way too. So, but ultimately the structure that you've created is encouraging that. And that's why clients are doing it. So again, back to square one. Put your pricing model away in a drawer and then come back to it and look at it from a client's perspective. From their perspective, the better deal is to buy the album because then they get all the digital files they want. Make sense? Okay. Crystal says, I've been using the COIOC method since the beginning of last year, and one problem I'm running into is that clients will spend the least amount that they can to be in a collection to get the digital files at the discounted price. Do you have any tips for steering clients towards higher sales? I have the same problem, Crystal. I do. And that is the downfall of Create a Collection. But I also have Create a Collection structured such that that low minimum Create a Collection still gets me to my happy place. I'm still okay with that number because my minimum Create a Collection is $745, but they're also paying that $250 session fee. So I'm at $1,000 right there with my overall session, which is pretty much the minimum that I'll work for. So when we go to this model, create your own collection, you are going to battle that. But there are some tricks to getting people to do more. Again, unique products that the clients want and can't create themselves. Getting them to really think about their walls and what they want to display there. Pre-making in a software like ProSelect. ProSelect is especially wonderful at this. There's other software out there. Fundy has it as well. Preview, Shoot and Sell app. They all have different methods for putting art on walls, and you can do it on your client's wall. That is huge. It's an emotional draw for the client. They see a series of 3 or 4 images, and they want them all, hence selling more wall art. Okay, and then finally, most importantly, that pre-consultation, whether you do it on the phone or in person, by talking to the client beforehand, figuring out what you're shooting for, getting that soft commitment from them, that dream product that they want to walk away with, is really going to help solidify in their head and plant the seed of the sale in their head so that they'll want to purchase more. Shonda says, how much time do you waste editing photos for those that are only chosen a la carte? What do your clients purchase more, CAC or a la carte? Create a Collection, without a doubt. Like I said earlier, 95, maybe even 99% of my clients go with Create a Collection. Because if you looked when I showed you the brochure earlier, a la carte doesn't have any value. There's no reason to go there because you don't get as much as you do in Create a Collection for essentially the same price or just a little bit more. Okay, Connie says, how is this different from a previous pricing guide you had on your site? Oh, yes, it's all new products. The structure is the same, but it's all different designs. So it's much more modernized, it's much more clean. We now have, of course, the actual pricing sheet, which we show clients, and the brochure has been restructured. If you have the old pricing guide, you may not want to upgrade. It's entirely up to you. But it is much different and has much more wall-ready and finished products associated with it. Okay. Do you tell us where to print these, the pricing guide? Heck yes. There's all resources, even the resources for every single product I produce in the guide. So all my albums, all my frames, everything. We source all that, tell you where to get it, what the cost of goods is on it, and how we charge for it. It is complete. Okay. Paulo says, how do you present your images, printed or on a screen? I actually do both, Paulo. I show in ProSelect, which is truly my favorite sales software. I've been using it since 2007 and it's done nothing but wonderful things for me. And I also give them a proof box. So the proof box is presented to them at the sales session and they get to finger through the proofs. Incredibly valuable stuff because Andrew Funderburg, who runs Fundy Software, again, another good sales software, he shared with me, thank you, Beth, he shared with me that there's a 65% greater emotional response in a human being when they touch actual printed proofs versus seeing something on a screen or swiping. So what we do is we hand them the proofs of their images and they get to literally hold the images that they're seeing on the screen in the sales appointment. And it's so funny because I literally have to just shut up at that point and not say anything because they get in like this little bubble. They start looking at the images and it's impenetrable. Like you can't talk to them because they won't hear you. They're so engrossed in the emotion of their child. So this is the little proof box that we get from Photo Flash Drive. Love them. And this is a free gift for the client. And inside it has there's not one in there now, but it's a crystal USB drive that has their high-res images on it. So if they purchase the high-res files in Create a Collection, they get this box for free along with either a set of announcements or a set of mini books. So that right there is the big clincher, showing them both on a digital screen and in a printed proof version. Hook, line, and sinker, baby, and that's the way we like it. Okay, last question. Shanera says, I am jumping into Create a Collection, but I desperately need someone to dumb it down for me as much as possible. I've watched all of Julia's videos on it. I still don't get it. Okay, Shanera, let's figure out why you don't get it. I've searched this group and still don't seem to grasp it. I must be dumb because it seems like it should be simple. You're not dumb. Trust me. That's not the case. How do you structure the items? Nah, maybe I'm dumb because I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Structure the items. You mean price my individual products? I price them based on structure the steps. How do you structure the steps? It's basically, like I said earlier, step one is choose art piece, signature art. It could be wall art, it can be an album, it can be both, it can be one thing, it can be 50. All those individual products are priced according to my cost of goods, okay? Shanira also says, I know she has her session fee, then you choose the piece of art and then the digital collection. Session fee is separate. That is paid upfront when they book. So say, for example, a newborn client calls. She goes, I really want to book a session with you. Great. Okay, you can book a gem session, which is for the baby only. And when you're done with the session and you come back to view your images, we're going to show you 15 to 20 finished images for you to review and purchase prints and products from. Okay? Or you can do, there's my little peanut back there. It's so cute. Can you be quiet for 5 more minutes for me? Thank you, sweetheart. You're being so good. Or you can do a full family session, which is $250, and then at your preview appointment, we'll show you between 30 and 40 finished images for you to choose prints and products from. I just dropped my mic. Hopefully you guys can all still hear me. Okay. So that's a session fee. It's paid in advance. It's done at when they book. Okay. We shoot the session, then they come back for the ordering appointment. Here's where Create a Collection takes hold. They can either do digital files only a la carte. They can choose 12 small or 20 large, okay? Or they can do what's called Create a Collection, okay? Let's go back to it real quick here. I'll share it one more time and then we'll call it a day at that. Okay. So they can choose anything that they want here in step one. So either wall art, an album, it can be one album, it can be 50, I don't care. They can fill this with as many things as they want in step one. So, and what that costs is based on how many things they choose. If they choose one thing, the very lowest price thing in these options, it's only $250, okay? So in other words, it begins at $250. But then, honey, where's the bathroom? Linda, will you show him where the bathroom is? My little boy. Gotta love kids, right? It's live, guys. That's how you know it's live, right? Okay, then step 2 is for them to choose their digital files. They can either get them all in high res or all in low res, okay? The low res files are $495. The high res files are $725, okay? The high res files come with the perks, come with the incentives, okay? So the price of this step plus this step is the total cost of the collection. In other words, it's a custom collection, create your own, okay? She says, she continues down here, the piece of art is $295, and it says under there that it's a mounted print, canvas, or album. What are the prices for each of these individually if they decide they want more than one thing? Well, again, Shanira, it's all priced based on my cost of goods. So, this is different for every photographer. That's why I can't just say to you, now, if you buy the pricing guide, it's all in there according to what we do. But I always encourage people, don't just go off those numbers alone. You have to structure it according to your own costs and what your market will bear. Okay, so, you know, living in the middle of Podunk, Wyoming, where prices are really low, your prices there are going to be different than someone in high-end Newport Beach, Los Angeles, who has a very wealthy subset of the population, and the market can afford the prices. So, you know, and the same with New York City. Cost of living is huge there. So clearly things are going to cost more there. So that's why I can't just give you a blanket price on all these products, because it truly depends on your market, your costs, your overhead, where you're sourcing your products, all that kind of thing. Okay? So hopefully that answered most of your questions, guys. Again, just to give you, if you want to see what we do sell it to photographers. Our new pricing guide is available through Friday. Use code PRICE17 for 20% off through Friday. Go to jewel-education.com and visit the online classes tab. I know it seems like we're moving our store over, so it's not quite in the right spot yet, but that will all become clear here very soon. But anyway, and we've linked it in the group too. So if you want to see it in the group, we'll pin that post to the top so you guys can all see it one more time. But anyway, I hope that answered a lot of your questions and got you going on pricing. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I've been on the air for almost an hour. But I'm glad this topic was so popular and that you guys enjoyed it very much, because Pricing is so important to being profitable in your studio and to making a living at your art and doing what you love. I know that all of you want to support your families, or at least be that second income for your families, and it's critical that you do strategic pricing methodology that gets you to the average sale that you need to be. Again, thanks so much for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.